Today on Danny's Guitar Shop, the disc jockey.
It's the guy who's spinning the record that can take you from here to there.
That's our job. We get paid to have fun. And at $3.25, your tickets to Pink's show from Q102. Get ready.
I play music from a heart, not a research chart.
Research plays a huge role in it.
The DJ, the boss jock. Let's find out how things have changed over the years, if they've changed at all. So don't touch that dial. We'll be back on the flip side.
Good food, great music, awesome vibes, and bowling too. North Bowl, strikingly different.
Philadelphia's premier concert venue. Nothing beats a show at Electric Factory. Tickets and information at electricfactory.info.
Little Richard's name.
There was a time when the radio DJ was the star.
This is Mr. Hank Ballard.
He picked the music. He controlled the pace. He was the show. Today it's an entirely different world for the radio DJ. Satellite communication, market research, corporate networks, Facebook, Twitter. But really, how different is it when all you're trying to do is to get a bunch of teenagers to listen to music on the radio?
That's the voice, right? Yeah. Well, Christina Aguilera, she's pressing the button, turning her big red chair around for us now. Your Body is new for you on
It's sad because young people who want to get into radio, it's not like it was when I don't know if they really enjoy it after a while.
I tell you, that's a job that everybody wants, and it's up to me to continue to be on my best, because the moment that I'm not doing it, somebody else is. Let's make this happen. This is awesome. Kelly Clarkson on the radio. Philly's hit music station, Q102. What's up? It's Maxwell, and I don't know if you saw this, but the iHeartRadio Music Festival in Vegas, it was amazing. And Enrique, he kissed a girl on stage. No, it wasn't my mom, but she was there. She showed me some pictures. You can catch up on all the photos. Q102.com. It's a very fortunate position to be in, to be able to say I get to show up to work and play music, talk on the radio, answer the phone, interview a couple of celebrities, and have a paycheck show up. I've got to stay on top of my game, and I think all jocks need to stay up on top of their game, because there are a lot of hungry and willing people who would love nothing more than to do what we do.
Someone who's lived that radio dream for many, many years is Jerry Blavat. It's been well over 50 years since Jerry Blavat hit the scene as a DJ in Philadelphia. Like his counterparts across the U.S. in the brand new field of rock and roll radio, Jerry, or the Geeter as he christened himself, connected with his fellow teens out in Radio Land by playing the tunes that he thought they wanted to hear.
Kinda like the monkey, kinda like the twist. Pretend you're in the water and you go like this.
If I like a song and I feel it in here, and I listen to the lyric that makes sense and it's got a rhythm beat, I put it on the turntable. If I like it, I have the ability to share what I like with my audience. Okay, and for 52 years, that's exactly what I've been doing. Come on, baby, and swim! The requests are coming in, the parents are saying, turn that guy down, turn that music down. It's raucous, turn that guy down. The Geeter with the hot heater. The boss with the hot sauce. The Geeter with the heater with the record pleater. The music I was playing was so hot that you had to turn it down.
This is the inner sanctum here.
This is what I do. I got all my records.
Now you can. How can you stack 45s without damaging them?
No,
like that?
this is vinyl, man. Look, I could do that to it. Okay, and then what I could do is just pick them up. Okay, and play them. I mean, you know. You'll love this song. AM ruled. Even though you had the FM band, AM radio is where kids listened for rock and roll.
FM was classical music at
Right.
that time, maybe
Exactly.
jazz.
Yeah. AM it was the thing.
Everybody had a persona. And you developed the Geeter with the heater, the boss with the hot sauce. There was High Ski, O'Rooney, McFaddy, O'Zoot,
Niagara was the Rockin' Bird. Georgie Woods was the man with the goods. My dear friend, who really was a mentor, Jocko, was the ace from outer space.
Now playing in select theaters. Opens everywhere Friday. Be here today, beginning at 5 p.m.
Check.
IOQ Philadelphia.
iHeart radio station. Elvis Duran in the morning. Phillies hit.
Thank you for making Q102 Philly's #1 hit music station. It's Maxwell in for Romeo on the radio, and we start things off with Taylor Swift now.
I remember when we broke up.
Well, what's up? My name is Maxwell. I am currently the assistant program director, music director for WIOQ, Q102, the top 40 station in beautiful city of brotherly love, Philadelphia. Love it here. Our job is to make sure that we're on the forefront of everything that is hot, that is pop, that is what the kids want to listen to. And the goal for top 40 records and the goal for top 40 radio stations is to always keep things moving. We want to keep the momentum going. We don't want you to go and blab on for hours and hours and hours. We want you to just hit the main points, talk about a new record, talk about an on-air concert we've got coming up. Here's a song. We're keeping the party rolling. That's pretty much the life of a top 40 DJ, is sit in there, talk when you're supposed to talk, entertain when you're supposed to entertain, and use your personality to complement the record.
Listen to this.
When she was just 17, you know what I mean.
Chaco.
And the way she looked, oh, way beyond compare. Oh, yeah.
Go ahead.
You know I never did. We're never. We're the song was standing there. Yeah. Now she looked at me. You know I just couldn't see. But before too long, I fell in love with her. Oh,
Little Richard.
you know I
Uh-huh.
in a night. When the song was standing there.
Hanging out with yours truly, the Get to the Big Boss with the Big Cat Sauce. Don't be ashamed, I said. Mention Little Richard's name. If something's good, it's good. Radio makes the mistake of trying to format it this way. No, it's the guy who's spinning the record that can take you from here to there. I can play for you Little Richard. I can play for you Madonna. I can play Donna Summers. And I can take you to Beyonce. It's the way you do it. That was the AM disc jockey. The AM disc jockey brought you in. He was the guy. You made a request. I say this to my audience. I play music from a heart, not a research chart.
Research plays a huge role in it. We have a database that we encourage listeners to be a part of. We try to look at online downloads, digital downloads, web streams, just about every chart that we can get our hands on. That's pretty much what we're trying to get our hands on, to give us the best knowledge, to make sure that we're playing the biggest, best songs that everybody wants to hear. If they're listening 5 times a day for 8 minutes at a time, or if they're listening 3 times a day for 15 minutes at a time, we want to make sure that those times that they're listening, they're hearing what they presume to be their favorite, what they love, the most. And we take the data, everything that they are tested on as far as, what they like, what's popular to them, what is burnt out to them, what they feel is old, what they feel is familiar, unfamiliar. Basically, it's an empty puzzle. It's up to me to come up within each one of these categories to plug in a particular song to create the puzzle hourly and daily, weekly, monthly, yearly. DJ gets a physical copy to be able to make some notes, and as you see, it comes, to them. They're ready to roll. They input their little bit of flavor into, like I said, entertaining between their favorite songs, listeners' favorite songs, and this mirrors what's in my office, and we try to make it as, you know, as thinkless as possible. When you're thinking, you're not having fun. When you're not thinking and you just get to be yourself, that's what we as jocks are hired for. We're hired to just have fun. I mean, and it's as strange as it seems. I mean, that's our job. We get paid to have fun, and you're not having fun when you're thinking too much. So let me see, about 2 minutes, 20 seconds before our next talk break. And I think this one we're gonna tease a little bit. Let's do it. First, the computer does it. We go in and make sure the computer is doing what we want it to do. Make sure that, you know, genres don't clash. Make sure that tempos don't clash. Make sure that no artists come up within the same 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. That way, by the time it gets to the DJ into the studio, they've got the very best photo of what the radio station is. We always want to create a snapshot of the radio station that is the most balanced over a course of 15 minutes. The brain is constantly working. Everything kind of has a strategy. Everything has its place. Everything has its position. Music is something that it moves you emotionally, whether it be good, bad, anger, or complete jubilation. And if you allow the computer and the enormous amount of data be what drives you to create a sound for your radio station, you're going to be wrong.
I was a street kid. My father was a Jewish racketeer, number writer, all of that stuff. My mother went to work as a riveter to support, because my father was never around. He was a terrific guy, but he was never around. He had his business. I saw a show called Bandstand. I said, wow, I could dance better than these kids. I was 13, you had to be 14. I won a dance contest. I danced again, I won a second dance contest. Bob Horn, who was the host, said, look, you can't get in the dance contest anymore, but you're that good, I want you to be the head of the dance committee, and I want you to pick out the dancers that we rotate. We want good dancers. Bob Horn loses Bandstand. Dick Clark comes to me and says, look, we're going to have Bandstand. We want you to be still the head of the committee. The show will probably go network. I said, no, my loyalties were with Bob Horn. He was a second father to me. So I picketed Dick Clark. I get arrested. The pickets go down. The kids go into Bandstand. That's the end of my dancing career. Nat Sigel, who was in the record business, also who became my manager eventually, had a group called Danny and the Juniors. They had a song called At the Hop. I became the road manager for Danny and the Juniors. I see Dick after I get off the road. He says, you know, I'm involved with publishing. I have the group. I know you're the road manager. I said, Dick, I didn't do this out of disrespect. My loyalties were to Bob Horn. He said, that's why I'm talking with you. He says, I admire that, because I know if I lose Bandstand tomorrow, all these guys that were with Bob or now with me would jump on to the next guy, and I won't have any loyalty around me. When we got off that train, I said, Dick, you have my loyalty. And to the day he died, this year, he has been a staunch friend, an ally, a guy who really helped my career.
Hi, this is Dick Clark, and you're listening to my man, the geeter with the heater, the boss with the hot sauce, Jerry Blavat. Jerry, you never change. You look like a 12-year-old.
For decades, Dick Clark was one of the drivers of our pop culture bus. He was everywhere. Today, we have Ryan Seacrest.
It gets no bigger than Ryan Seacrest. He's Mr. Pop Culture, an amazing talent when it comes to radio. That's where his career first started. We host Ryan Seacrest middays on air. We sure as heck try to make it seem and sound like he's here local and live, and doing a pretty good job, Ryan. What his production team does on his end in Los Angeles or wherever in the world he might be. He was in London at the Olympics, and the show didn't stop.
There's breaking Idol news from last night at the auditions, so we'll recap that story. I will take you inside in just a second. Here's Alex Clare with Too Close on Q102.
And then we go into the song, and that's how we kind of make Ryan Seacrest appear here in the City of Brotherly Love. And it's kind of cool to be a part of this smoke and mirrors type of a world every once in a while. So thank you, Ryan, for providing us with amazing content, for being who you are, and you can just send me that $50,000 check later for saying that to you, bro.
Maxwell, he uses just one name. Grew up in San Diego, and as you can tell by looking at him, he got into the radio business early. He's worked at a few stations in places like Southwest Louisiana and Northern California.
Somehow they let me play with all this stuff around here. It's kind of crazy.
This young guy lives for rock and roll radio.
So welcome to Q102. That's what we do.
And the radio end began when I got off the road and I get into a dice game with the wise guys in South Philly, and one of them has a club called the Venus Lounge. I do a radio show from the Venus Lounge, which is a talk show. And all of the artists that I worked with when they were in Philadelphia would come and do the talk show. Snowstorm comes, closes the club down. I take all of my records that I dance to, because I can't do a talk show. There's no people around. I'm going to play music. And I play the oldies, 1960. And it begins. It's the first time the kids at that time are listening to oldies. Little Richard Faustino, music that was popular in the 50s, is now being heard in 1960 for the first time by these kids. They flipped. Work it, baby. Knock it, baby. Work it, baby. Oh, baby. I just love your sexy ways.
Hi, this is Don Nichols. So if you really watch Jerry Blabbert's show, you definitely have a problem at home. Tune in on Jerry Blabbert. It'll relax you. Okay? God bless. Jerry Blabbert's a dear friend of mine, but keep it quiet.
Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby. I just love your sexy ways. There's not a day that does not go by in my life that I don't hear music. And I share my music with my audience. AM radio no longer does what I do because they've tied the hands of any creative people by saying, you just play what we tell you to play. I've never done that. And in the book that I have written, you will read that I was always in awe of the Native American Indian for the freedom that they had. They were nomadic. They were very spiritual. They lived off the land. And we messed that up. And I would never let anyone take away from me my creative spirit, my freedom for me to entertain an audience the way I feel an audience should be entertained. And that's what I do today, man. And I don't stop.
Turning people onto a cool thing.
There, you just hit it. Turning, Dan Aphonic said, turning the cool thing on to the people with the wool. My man.
I guess I was a little too young to be a young teen per se. But
well, you're a young beyond teen.
That's right.
You see,
you got that right. Well beyond. But the AM radio that I grew up listening to was very formatted.
Absolutely.
And what you were doing was your own thing. And were there people in other cities that were kind of mavericks like you were?
No, because I'll tell you what happened. Because of the Paola investigation, the FCC was told disc jockeys no longer can select their own music. A program director will select the music and give it to the disc jockey. So all of a sudden you had playlist, format radio, playlist, 40 records on the playlist with bubbling under, okay, or a new top 5 or something like that. So the disc jockey lost the power to play music he liked. He had to go to a program director who would select the music.
The program director is very much the head coach of the team. Everything that the jock does from once it leaves my office, my program director's office, and makes it into the on-air studio, it's not quite autopilot, but it's, we're going to let you know when to talk. We're going to let you know what to talk about. We're going to let you know, how long to talk in between these records.
I was on from 6 o'clock to 10 o'clock, and the owner of the station came to me and said, we want you to do an hour, 10 to 11. I said, what am I going to do? I mean, the kids are in bed. They're getting ready to get up in the morning to go to school. They're listening to me right now, but they're going to fall asleep with their transistor radios on the radio. So I developed a portion for kids called the Lover's Hour. It became the highest rated hour of my entire shift. And then I produced an album called For Lovers Only, which sold like 60,000 copies, vinyl back then, in 1963. And I'll give you a little example of what I did back then, okay? I have to pick a record that goes along with my rap. It is time now for me to take you on a journey. Back when you went to the record hops, Wagner's Ballroom, Shabu Ballroom. Back then, kids from all over, different neighborhoods, would come and meet. You would meet a girl. You would dance with the girl. And then you would take her perhaps maybe to the hot shop. And the next day you would call me up. And you'd say, Geeter, play this song for the girl that I danced with last night. Please bring back to me the tokens.
Please ride while you are away. I'm waiting for your letter each day.
And that's the way I would do it, you see. And I would have the song tell the storyline about what emotionally the kid was feeling when he danced with that girl and she wasn't there and he didn't see her. During the summertime, she'd be at the Starlight Ballroom. And summertime, kids would meet girls and guys would meet girls and girls would meet guys from all over the country. But that was the summertime. So that song would go, please write, okay, wherever you are. And that's the way it would go. Kids, the innocence of youth. And then again, youth is a gift of nature. Age is a work of art. I am just not putting a record on the turntable. I am living my music with my audience. And that's what radio is about, communicating. Today, they don't do that. They've taken away the freedom for a disc jockey to play and share. It became corporate. It became very corporate. When I began in radio, all of the radio stations, and this was like this around the country, were owned by local people in the community. So they knew the importance of having a disc jockey there with a local flair. They wanted the disc jockey. I went out, I did personal appearances. You went to a record store. You went to the Catholic high schools. That's what it was. Today, it's corporate.
All the different stations within Clear Channel here, hip hop station, Q102, we make our way down this way. And this is where the magic happens, as they say.
Romeo and Maxwell to grab your tickets before they go on sale. All the details and more ways to win, Q102.com.
Perfect. I wear the hat of music director as well as on-air jock. Me as the music director, I'm more or less the offensive coordinator. It's up to me to create the playlist, to create the sound that comes through the radio station, to build the offense that best exemplifies what we want to put out there as a brand. But when it gets to the DJ, the input that they have once the playlist is pretty much created weekly, it's very little.
They got guys in New York City, God bless them, who have no idea. So they get a consultant, and the consultant says, well, this is what you have to play. Bop, 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 bop. There's the difference, man. Play anything that you want to play that's good for an audience, whether it's the 60s, the 70s. I do that every day. I did it back in the day when I started to play oldies. It's because that's all I had. But then when the record promotion guys were coming around giving me new product, and I heard it, I said, this fits my persona. This fits my groove.
We were visited by our good folks at Atlantic Records with a new artist that they came in with a blank CD and said, I want you to take a listen to this. Pop the CD player in here and the chills go up and down my arm. And I'm sitting here, this is a hit record. Who is this? It's a new guy that we're trying to develop. His name is Bruno Mars. There are some records that just sound like hits that just move you, that give you those goosebumps when you first pop it into CD player.
Sherry, Twist and Shout, Don't Make Me Over, I Love You by the Volumes, He's So Fine by the Chiffons, You Can't Sit Down by the Dobells. I had the freedom to put her on the turntable. I liked it.
Music is something that it moves you emotionally, whether it be good, bad, anger, or complete jubilation. And if you allow the computer and the enormous amount of data be what drives you to create a sound for your radio station, you're going to be wrong, because you're going to allow yourself to just stick with the numbers and to not trust your instinct, to trust your gut, to trust the true passion that you have when you're at the desk creating the playlist, or that true passion that once got you to want to be a radio DJ in the first place.
Just like the dog, but not so low. Like the holly gully, but not so slow.
Come on and swim, Will.
Baby, do the swim.
Come on, baby, swim.
Do what you wanna, do like you wish.
The Geeter with the heater gonna swim with you.
Now do the backstroke.
Do the backstroke, baby.
Dancing is a key ingredient to the whole thing.
What? You had the pony, which was a different dance. You had a song called Quarter to Three, which was a different dance. You had
jerk.
The jerk, the fly, the fish, and then you had the Watusi. Every day of the week, which is the students, which is the original record, and we're playing that at a place called the Chevu Ballroom. Cal Mann, Cameo Parkway, comes, sees these kids, 2,000 kids doing this dance. I'm doing also a hop in Bristol. So they developed a dance and they called it Bristol Stomp from every day of the week, you see.
Gonna feel fine, and once you dance with me,
The joint is jumping.
The joint is jumping and everybody's pumping. And don't be humping, everybody's pumping. My man.
At the end of the day, I like to tell people it's just music. We're just having fun. It's not rocket science. You know, go with your emotion, go with your soul, and let that always, lead your way, as cheesy as it may sound. It's just music, people. That's all.
Everyone in business wants a satisfied customer. That requires interaction, feedback, and a sense of what people want. What's interesting here is that both of our disc jockeys eventually get that response from their listeners. That's how they decide what their playlist will look like. If the listener ain't listening, they ain't working. So whether they program from the heart or a research chart, in the end, they need the young teens to push that button on the car radio and groove to their sound and their rap. Jerry and Maxwell both love what they do, light up when they're on the mic, and can't wait to get to work. Jerry is still a couple of inches off the ground after 50 years of spinning the platters that matter. At first glance, they seem to be worlds apart, but really, I'm not so sure. Hey, you make the call.
Thanks for hanging out with us at Danny's Guitar Shop. Come back and see us again, because we have a lot more stories to tell you. And remember, more cowbell.
Don't be ashamed, mention the rock and roll name, and it will always be the same. Pots and Pans, my man Danny, the finest dancer in the land.
Danny's Guitar Shop is brought to you by Old City Publishing, books, journals, multimedia. Gunner's Run, good food, good drink, good times. Electric Factory, nothing beats a show at Electric Factory. North Bowl, strikingly different. Onion Flats, sustainable architecture.